Okay, good morning, everyone. We'll get started with our panel. So just make sure that you're in the right room. This is about social media groups and gathering like-minded readers. So my name is Jeffrey L. Kohanek. I'm the panel moderator this morning, and just quick background on me. I'm an epic fantasy author. I have 23 books published. First one was in 2016. I quit my day job a few years ago, and this is now my full-time gig. So yeah, just keep writing books, and everybody will get there. Have the faith. Okay, and then I want our other panelists to introduce themselves. So Nick first.
Yeah, good morning. My name's Nick Thacker. I write thrillers, action-adventure thrillers in the vein of Clive Cussler, James Rowlands, that kind of thing. I've been writing for about 12 years. It's not very long. I hated writing growing up. After high school English class, I said, I'm never going to write anything ever again. This is ridiculous. It didn't help that I broke both my thumbs on a ski trip my senior year of high school, and my professor made me still write the essays, so that was probably part of it. But I rediscovered my love for reading and eventually started writing, and first book became a millionaire. No, I'm just kidding. It took a while, but I've been doing this job full-time now for about 6 years, so about half my career.
My name is yeah, I got the same stuff here. Sorry, I pass it on. My name is Shawn Inmon. I write, some people call it cozy time travel. I'm creating my own genre as I go here. I have a 17-book series called the Middle Falls Time Travel Series. I have a 7-book series called the Alex Hawk Time Travel Series, so I guess I found my niche here. I published my first book, a romance memoir that tells how I fell in love with my wife, in 2012, and amazingly, that book sold 30,000 copies. And I was like, this is so easy. I didn't have another book that sold 30,000 copies for about 8 years after that, so I learned it's not quite that easy. I'm a full-time writer. I retired from my job as a real estate broker in 2016, and I've been writing my little cozy time travel shows ever since.
Hi, I'm Angel Haze. I write dark epic fantasy. I've got 2 books published and a few short stories. I've only just published last year because I went through a divorce and I had to give up an 8-book series that never got published. But best thing of my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have indie fantasy addicts groups, and that's what most of my social media is. But yeah.
Okay, we'll get on with the yay. We'll get on with the first question. So I'll start with Nick, and we'll go on down, so you each can take turns. So there are obviously numerous social media platforms. I'd like to hear. So where do you focus? What platform or platforms are your platforms of choice? And then how do you utilize them?
I use Facebook and I use Twitter, mostly Facebook because that's a comfortable place for me personally to live. And I say that because I do believe if we, as the social media person, doesn't like the platform, we're just going to not really ever succeed. I just don't believe that we can truly succeed on it. I don't think there's a way to hack this. So for me, the first rule was I have to enjoy being here. And Twitter, I don't think anybody enjoys being on Twitter. It's just everybody, it seems to be a place of the worst of us, coming together and yelling at the rest of the worst of us. I say I use it, though, because it is sort of easy to set up and automate, and I've been involved in some discussions there that I do enjoy. So I don't enjoy being on Twitter all day, every day, so I'll check in, basically. I have my automated stuff going out multiple times a day, because you can do that on Twitter. And if somebody pings me or messages me, I'll see that. But most of the social media interactivity that I do is on Facebook. And that's demographics, really. I mean, of course, I like to be there, but most of my readership is also, all of my readership is on Facebook to some extent. But generally speaking, my demographics are 50 to 65-year-old women. Not predominant. I mean, maybe 55 to 60% are women as opposed to men. And both of those big cohorts are on Facebook. So that's why I chose that platform to really double down on.
It's demographics for me, too. My audience is about 2/3 women, about 100% over 50. because I write nostalgia. I write books set in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And so I get the people that read my books and go, oh, I remember those times. Those were good times. Drive-ins and drive-in movie theaters and small towns, and everybody knows everybody's business. That's what I write. So I'm on Facebook. I'm pretty careful about not promoting. I try not, in football there's a phrase called out-kicking your coverage, and that means you punt the ball too far, and your guys haven't gotten down there to tackle the guy yet, and so they end up ripping off about a 60-yard return. Well, I try not to do that with my Facebook page, so I'm really careful about how I promote my author Facebook page, my group, and my advanced reader group. So I only have about 4,500 people on my main page, but they're 4,500 of the right people, and I get tremendous organic response. Facebook will show about 2,000 to 2,500 people every single one of my posts now, and that's about half my audience. And if you're pegging half your audience on organic discovery, you're doing things right. You're never going to get too much above that unless you're somebody that I don't know how to do it. So, and so I have a Facebook page. I have my one group with 800 people in it that's dedicated just to my one series, the Middle Falls Time Travel series, and another for my advanced readers, where I have 300 advanced readers that I give my book to. And that allows me, like I launched a book over the weekend and I'm over 100 reviews on it already. So it gives you that first spurt of good reviews.
I do Facebook as well because I tried other things and you just don't get the engagement. But my Facebook I haven't put the efforts into my Facebook readers group or the Facebook page. Mine is actually in the Indie Fantasy Addicts group, which is 8,000 people, because that is where the tribe is. And it's all Indie Fantasy Addicts, where it's mainly fantasy and not romance-based, because we got in a problem with that. But they are so amazing, getting to meet all the people, and they share reviews. We have reader contests. I get to, I'm a gusher. I love reading other people's books, and I get to meet other authors that way. And then by putting all my gushing reviews of all the books I read, then all the readers are like, oh, I want to read that book and everything. And that has made my in with the readers too, because they don't want drive-by, oh, my book, I just released a book post and everything. They want actual, non-promo things. They just want to talk. They just want to talk fantasy. And then when you have books and everything too, I'm losing my thought. I'm really nervous. Pardon? Indie Fantasy Addicts. It's 8,000 readers. It's reader-centric. There's rules on self-promo because readers will report posts on if you're not active on there, because we want the reader experience. It's not about, and some people are like, well, how do authors, how do they get to know that, oh my God, I'm shaking.
It's all right. Yep. So now I've been in Indie Fantasy Addicts since the beginning with Angel, and I've seen it grow. And the other thing we did is we created a sister group called Authors of IFA. So it's a group where authors, bloggers, editors, etc., can kind of share the business side within just our genre. So, and again, it's non-self-promote, but those two things, it's kind of it's a nice synergistic kind of marriage. And yeah, it's like I said, the group grows organically, and people really enjoy it. They embrace it.
Yeah, we created a summer reading challenge, and there's a year, and you can't put Amazon reviews. You can't ask for a review, but we create points where you share your thoughts on the book, and you get points, and then authors have donated signed books and ebooks and audiobooks, and that's what you win at the end. And one year we had 9,000 books read and reviewed. You don't have to put it on Amazon, but most people do anyway. And it's just created this whole entire community It's absolutely amazing.
It encourages discovery of authors that participate in that group or not. But as long as it's an independently published book and it's fantasy, it's good to go, right? So yeah. Okay, I'm gonna move on to the next question. So Angel, you're gonna get this one first, and we'll come back. Okay. So what mindset should authors have when engaging in social media?
Readers first. You need to act as a reader, because if you're acting as an author, then you're busy about thinking, why did you ask me first?
You can pass, I don't know.
No, you just have to be the reader, because that is where you'll find your tribe. And even if you do discussion questions, say you write books about anti-heroes, which I do, and without you, all you have to say, who's your favorite anti-hero, and your tribe of people will answer that, and then you can trade books, and you'll get in with the people that you want. And and the share and stuff like that, it bugs the crap out of me. Okay.
Okay. John?
So just a tiny plug. At 9:30, I'm essentially giving a 45-minute talk on this topic over on the main stage, so I'd love to see you there, how to run your author Facebook page for fun and profit. So I'm going to give you a little preview here, in that there are, to me, 2 keys as to how you interact with your readers on Facebook or any social media, and that's consistency and authenticity. Be who you are, be your real self. When you're your real self, you never have to remember, who am I supposed to be with my readers? I add a third thing, which is transparency. I tell my readers when I mess up. Like recently, I ran up against a pre-order deadline for a book that was supposed to be 90,000 words, and I looked up and I had 10 days to write it. Well, I'm a pretty fast writer, but I'm not going to write 90,000 words. So I just came to my readers and explained, I messed this up, but I'm going to lose my pre-order privileges if I don't write this book, so I'm turning it into a novella. And you know what? They're all like, that's great, Shawn, we love you, that's fine, just give us what you want. But if I try, so I'm a big believer in those 3 things, and that's what I'm going to be talking about: consistency, authenticity, and transparency with your readers. Just be yourself and be who you are.
I love that. To piggyback a little bit on what Shawn's talking about, I feel like marketing in general, and this does apply to social media, has been switching over the last few decades from this idea of pushing things out to people, like television, radio ads, right, that kind of thing, newspapers, saying, I have this product I want you to buy. Now we're in this permission marketing phase that Seth Godin coined, and the idea is, if I know who you are and you know who I am, then I can just put what I have out there and you can choose to grab it or not. And it's a much gentler approach, but it tends to work a lot better in the long term because of that, because you're not trying to be salesy, you're not trying to push things. And so for me, the way to do this in social media, and I'm just kind of at the beginning of this, so you won't see this on my profiles yet, but I'm trying to build mine in such a way that people will know their home when they find my social media platform profile. They'll know that I'm someone they can be hanging out with, essentially. And what this looks like is I'm not too terribly worried about making sure I share my book or my product, whatever it is, enough times. There's not like the Pareto principle, 80-20. I've tried that before. Where like 20% of the time I want to share my books, 80% of the time I want to share other people's stuff or what. That's great and that works fine, but I wanted to take the science out of it and take the math out of it and just build a place that is attractive to people rather than trying to attract people. Does that make sense? Like, I don't want to go out and find someone. I can do Facebook ads for that, and that's advertising though. With social media, indirect marketing, I want to build a platform or a home on that platform that people like me I'm so sorry, my voice is all I'm like a 14-year-old boy. I'm not 14, you guys may think I am. That people will see it and go, oh, I like this guy. For whatever reason, that's the weird part. It's not about just, oh, I like his books. It's like, oh, he's a Colorado Avalanche fan. Game tonight at 4 p.m., by the way. Come watch with me. Oh, he likes whiskey. Oh, he likes beer. Whatever the thing is that I like, I want people to resonate with that in some way. Because then they'll feel comfortable building up a relationship with me. And that's what social media is all about, right? Eventually, sure, I want them to click on something and go buy a book. But this isn't direct sales. This isn't advertising. So we need to approach it in a slower, long slog, long haul marathon kind of way. And that's how I've changed my mindset lately, is just build something that will be attractive to the people who eventually land there, rather than trying to go out and attract people to some vapid thing that I'm doing online, right?
If I can just hitchhike on that real quick.
Oh.
We'll just go back and forth. Well, so what Nick's talking about is the way that advertising used to work. And I saw a study about 5 years ago that said we're all exposed in one way or another on an average day to approximately 10,000 pieces of advertising. 10,000 pieces a day. Well, if you're walking through a casino, it's probably a lot more than that. But if you're just home, it's around 10,000 a day. And so people have created what I think of as advertising armor. That stuff just bounces off of us. We literally don't even see it anymore, even when it's right in front of us. That's ineffective. So all those, hey, buy my books, those kind of posts, they don't work. They bounce off their advertising armor. But being authentic and establishing a real relationship, which is what Nick's talking about, you're not selling them anymore. They just find you and they want to know more about you and they want to buy your books that way.
It's good stuff. That's awesome. Okay, moving on. So Nick, you'll go first this time. Just going back and forth. Can you offer any specific methods you use to grow your following on social media?
Yeah, sure. I have had success using advertising to grow social media. So, like, almost sounds like I'm contradicting what I just said previously. But when we do seek to attract people to our platforms, these people that we find, I consider cold leads rather than warm leads. But that doesn't mean they're useless. That doesn't mean they can't be warmed up over time, right? These terms are something we all understand, right? Okay. So I love advertising. Advertise a boost a post on Facebook, for example, or advertise your Facebook page or group, or put links in the back of a book. Those are going to be warmer leads, of course, because they've already read the book, and then they go back and find you that way. These things all still work, and because you're keeping the readership, the audience is on the platform that you're using, and in terms of, if you use Facebook ads to generate leads to your Facebook group or page, whatever it is, you're keeping those people on their platform, so they tend to be cheaper than if you were trying to get all these people from Facebook to go follow you on BookBub or Goodreads or whatever it is. Right, so that is a very cost-effective way of getting some people onto that page. But really, going back to what Shawn and I were talking about, it really is a long-term game. I don't think it's wise, at least for my business, to set a goal with any metric like I want 20,000 new followers this year, because I can go get that goal right now on Fiverr. But that doesn't mean those are good people to have following my page. Does that make sense? So I don't want to be stressed about trying to hit a number, because social media isn't about the number. It's about this squishy, weird, ethereal thing called engagement that we can't really measure well. And any marketer who says they can is, I was in marketing for a long time, I'll come punch them in the head. So I don't even know if I answered the question, but
Yeah, you did.
I'll just talk forever. I'll stop.
all good.
Let my voice heal for the next question.
Okay. So one of the mottos of 20Books is many ways up the mountain, right? And I chose a different way up the mountain. So what's interesting to me is Nick does really well on social media, and I do really well on social media, but we approach it in completely different ways. I only build my page through organic growth. So the only thing I've ever done to build my page, well, I did two things. The day I launched it, I asked all my friends on Facebook, will you come like my author page, please? So I don't look so naked over there. And I had my original 40 friends came over and liked my page. And then I told them, by the way, go ahead, leave after a few months, because I just needed you there to get me started. And the only other thing I ever do is I put a link in the back of my books, and it says something like, excuse me, it says something like, I hang out on my Facebook page every day. If you read this book and you'd like to know a little bit more about me, about my process, about how I write, about what I've got coming up, any of that, and some really bad jokes, come on over to my Facebook page, because I tell bad jokes on my Facebook page every day. People say they hate them, but they keep coming back for them. They like the most common reaction on my Facebook page is, we really need a groan emoji. That's the most common thing I get on my page.
You gotta tell us a joke now.
Oh, I don't have any.
Go follow the Facebook page.
There you go.
What I do is just be a reader, because I couldn't publish for 3 years. So I would go, and I wanted to get in with all these authors and all these readers, so I would go and read all their books. I was on maternity leave because I'm a slow reader, so this was awesome. And then I would go to, there's about 3 groups that I went to that were that geared toward more epic fantasy, and I'd post the same review or slightly different to all of them, and then it was just helping build and everything. And then I stayed mostly in indie fantasy addicts, but just acting like a reader. So it's total relationship building. It's, they're your friends, and then they didn't know at the beginning that I was an author, but then like all of a sudden they're like, oh, and they care more. It's just, my whole thing is relationship building. And then when I read the books of authors and I go and message them, I'm like, your book is so awesome and everything. And then I get to connect with all the authors too. So it's a whole networking thing.
So I'll actually add another one for that we've kind of used in IFA. So each year we do this summer reading challenge we mentioned before. Well, the authors that are kind of like most engaged and into it, like we actually lead groups, reader groups. And what we are, we kind of encourage these authors to do is, hey, share information about this reading challenge in your newsletter. So you do that, and every year we see like a big bump, an influx of new people coming from all these authors' newsletters and coming into the group. And what's great is you see as people come in, and they're so excited to find the group and to discover all these new authors and great stories. And it's so we gain a lot of momentum through this. I don't know, it's like a summer-long event. And again, it's like a coalition of authors working together versus, you try to do everything on your own in a vacuum. Yeah.
I've got another, excuse me, it's going around. I've got another tip that, so if I understand right, and I am not a Twitter guy, so correct me if I'm wrong, but on Twitter, it kind of looks cool if you have a whole bunch of people following you and you're not following very many people, because it's like, hey, I'm important. People follow me and I don't have to follow them back. Well, on your Facebook author pages in particular, that's not necessarily good advice, and I've only recently kind of figured this out. So if your question is, how do I grow my author Facebook page? One way to do that is to like other people and other people's pages and interact with them, because Facebook gives you a boost of visibility if you interact with a bunch of other pages. So whatever your genre is, find some other pages, find some groups, and join them if they'll allow it with your page. Now, not all groups allow pages to join. 20Books doesn't allow pages to join. Stephen King Lovers doesn't allow pages to join, but you can follow people. I follow all the other time travel writers, and I engage with them on Facebook. And I'm not doing it just so my name will show up there, but somehow Facebook then brings those people back to me. So that if you're struggling to get past your first few hundred followers on your Facebook page, that's a great way to inspire Facebook to help you out a little bit.
That's an awesome tip. I actually never thought about that one. Okay, keep going. So who's first this time? Angel? Shawn. Okay. Well, yeah, you know what? We're just starting in the middle. We're going to do that. Let's do it. Okay. So what is the biggest mistake authors make when it comes to social media?
It's like I'm going to give my whole talk right here in like 10 minutes. So this is another my favorite subjects. Like, here's what authors do that is a horrible mistake in building their social media. I see them, they build their author page, they post a few times, nobody gives them any reactions, they get discouraged and they stop. And then a couple weeks later, or a month or 6 months, they'll see somebody at a conference like me that says, here's how you do it. And they come back to their author page and they say, here's their pattern. I apologize. I've been gone. I've been bad. But I'm back now, and you're going to hear from me all the time. And then they post very consistently for about a week. That's not long enough. And then they don't get any reaction again because that's not long enough. And then they go away again, and then you rinse and you repeat. So trying to be active on Facebook or any of your social media for a few weeks or a month doesn't do it. Here's how I started my Facebook page in 2012. I looked around Facebook and I decided I wanted to find someone to emulate. I like to find somebody already doing what I want to do and then copy them because I'm not that smart. I like to use other people's brains. And I found George Takei from Star Trek. I followed him for a month and I wrote down everything he did. And one thing I noticed was he posted 2 or 3 times a day, every day, every day. And so I made myself a promise. I don't care if no one ever responds to one of my posts. I'm gonna post once a day, at least every day for the next year, no matter what. And I went for 3 very dry months where no one was responding to me. And then it just happened. That magic algorithm said, oh, this guy's not giving up. We'll give you a little push here. And the next thing I know, I jumped from about 200 people to over 1,000 people in about 30 days. And it's just because I was stubborn and I wouldn't give up. And if you come to my little chat, we'll talk about how do you think is something to post every day. I'm going to give you a whole good list of things that you can post on your Facebook page every day.
What was the question?
Biggest mistake.
Biggest mistake is just, I don't know.
I can answer for her. But I'm going to let Nick go because I don't want to steal it in case he's going to say the same thing.
I'll come up with something else then. Basically what Shawn said, the way I think of it though is in terms of marketing, it's a 2-parter is the biggest mistake. It's not being consistent enough for a long enough period of time, but not also having a plan going into it. So how do you measure consistency without saying, well, I want to be consistent in this way? And I said earlier, we shouldn't use a metric like how many followers we have as a goal. I mean, that's good to have as a dream or something, but that's a trailing indicator in marketing speak, which means we have done things prior to that thing to affect change, and then we're measuring that trailing indicator to see if it worked. But that implies that we're missing what the leading indicators are. Those are the things that we do that can affect that stuff. So in Shawn's example, if I was marketing man, I would say, Shawn, you've got a great trailing or a good leading indicator of creating content every single day, X amount of times. What's your goal for how long you want to do it? Okay, well, I'm going to do 1 year. Great. So for 1 year, you're going to post multiple times a day on Facebook specifically, and we'll see how we go at the end of that. That's good marketing. And then at the end, sure, we can measure the growth of the channel in terms of subscribers and new readers and all that. But without the leading indicators defined and the goals for that marketing campaign defined, there's nothing to measure, right? So the biggest mistake I see people make isn't just that consistency goes away, it's that they haven't established what they want to do in the first place. So be sure that you know what you're going to do and stick to it. And that's it. I mean, it sounds very simple, and it is, but it's very challenging.
And if I can hitchhike on that, do I have your permission? Yeah, okay. Most people aim at nothing and hit it with amazing consistency. Goals are really important, but I was a real estate managing broker for 25 years. And so the way I trained my agents was, I would say, let's work on your business plan for next year. I want to make $100,000. Yeah, that's not a goal, because we can't control that. All we can do is control what we do. So for us, for social media, for writing, for whatever it is, I set goals that I can control. I can't control it. I get to 10,000 followers next year, but what I can do is say, I'm going to continue to post every day. I'm going to add something new to what I do to bring more people in. And as my author career, I'm going to write 6 books next year. And those are the goals I can control. So like Nick says, saying I'm going to get X number of followers is like saying I want to earn $100,000 as a real estate agent. That's not within our control. We need to set the goals for what we can control.
I'll add one more. So quite often, especially IFA, you see new authors join, and the first thing they're trying to do is spam, like, buy my book, buy my book, buy my book. Well, first up, no, not only does that not work, but it creates a negative impression. It's probably the last thing that you should do. The better thing to do is, yeah, maybe on your own page you say, hey, I got a new release, check it out. But it's among all the other things that you're posting other things that are interesting in other ways besides, buy my book. And definitely don't join groups and try to push your book unless, like what we do is on Fridays, we have, hey, Self-Promo Friday, post below this post, comment below this post, your book and, something about your character, or like, we kind of theme it each week, or something about the setting, or some interesting plot point, or whatever it is. And, you might get some sales out of that, you might not. It doesn't really matter, honestly, because those probably won't move the needle anyway. I would say in general, what really will help you is if you get a reader in one of those groups, post how much, and they're gushing how much they love the book, and they post a review, or they start loving a series so much, and then you have a new release, and they're like, happy release day, and you didn't even ask them to do it, and they post into like a couple groups that they're part of. Yeah, you'll get sales from that, because readers listen to readers more than people trying to peddle their own book. Yeah.
Oh, wait, I actually do have.
Okay. Go.
Well, the one thing, because you're saying join as your page, not all groups want that, but some of them do. But the thing is, don't share your page stuff as content kind of thing, because then it's promo-y, and some people are doing that, and it's just, and that's why pages are getting kind of banned from some of the groups, because people are using pages as, hey, yeah. And also when like someone's asking, if they do not ask for self-recs in one, do not put it in the comments. And even when they do, don't just drop the link or even just the blurb, because I don't even like that, because it's like a copy and pasted thing. It's like, show me something really cool about this book so that we can create a conversation and get people intrigued, instead of copy and pasting just your blurb, even when people are asking for, hey, self-recs are okay and everything. Like, show why it's so cool, because you guys make so many amazing adventures, like create conversations, and it's all about relationships and acting like a reader, because we're all fantasy readers, or not fantasy, sorry.
Well, in that group. Okay.
We're all readers, so.
Okay, so I see we're down to 6 minutes. Can I get like people raise hands if you have questions? I want to see how much Q&A time I need. So I see 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're just gonna go straight to that right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and line up at the mic back there and toss us some questions. And you can, if you have it for a specific person, say so. Yeah.
should not be going first because that's what my question is about.
Oh yeah, it's that mic.
Okay, so I'm a pretty reserved and private person just in general, and so my biggest struggle with my author social media pages is usually I don't always feel authentic even when I'm trying to be authentic, because I'm that person with if you're in my close immediate friend circle, I will be loyal to you forever, but the giant group of friends isn't my personality. So do you have any tips for someone like me who really struggles with the huge group idea?
Anybody want to take that?
Practice. Everybody has to decide what their boundaries are going to be, and I am like an open book. I go on vacation with my wife, I post pictures on my page, I tell them what we're doing every day. Readers say, I'm in that town, can I have lunch with you? And I'm like, yes, come on down. I wanted to have lunch with a reader yesterday here because they're in Vegas. That's not for everybody, and I understand that I'm a old man, and so it's a little easier for me than if I was a woman, but that's the decision you've got to make. But I think the reason I said practice is because once you start doing it, and the good news is if you're just starting to do that, nobody's going to hear you anyway at first, so you've got plenty of time to practice with the mic off, basically. And by the time you start having people show up at your party, you'll be a lot more comfortable.
Okay, thank you.
So I just wanted to vouch for Indie Fantasy Addicts. I joined in 2017, and I had a couple of middle grade books out, but I wasn't really interested in selling those. But I knew I was bringing out a series. And when I released my series in 2018, so we don't do self-promo in the group, right? Unless there are certain conditions, and then you're allowed to actually, if you've contributed a lot, then you're allowed to go and someone else will drop your name usually and say you've released a book. But as part of the Summer Reading Challenge, authors have opportunities to lead teams, they have opportunities to sponsor a game, to offer prizes, and what you are doing all year long is building a relationship with readers who are on fire. And this is largely due to the work of Angel and Jeff, who are so visionary, and a bunch of admins. So I have my own Facebook reader group now, over 2,000 people, and it started with a whole influx of people from Indie Fantasy Addicts. I fed the group with my newsletter and readers, but what I love about this group is the sense of community, the sense of support, and the amazing job they do. I think you guys have undersold yourselves today. You just do incredible stuff for your readers. They get books shipped internationally all over the world. There are always prizes. Every single month, authors have chances to offer prizes, and it's just such an amazing group. But what I have gotten from that is relationships with incredible readers and amazing authors. So not really a question, but I just wanted to put that out there because that's why I'm so passionate about the group, because you guys are incredible and you've been amazing for my career, absolutely amazing. So thank you.
Thanks, Eileen.
So I'm totally joining your group, when I get out of here. Authors of IFA, you got it. Yeah. I started doing a lot of what you have been talking about. My Facebook group, before I started advertising on Facebook, my Facebook group had about 125 followers, most of whom were my friends. Not group, my Facebook author page. I think I hit 400 while I was at this conference. I haven't been able to look at the stats because I've been too busy. And I have an interesting challenge. My books are middle grade fantasy. Cat mages are the major stars. They work with teenagers. Cat mages are cats with human intelligence and magical powers. So I appeal to cat lovers, and a lot of my Facebook followers are women who love cats but may not necessarily buy my books. And I'm thinking, should I just go with the flow and appeal to everyone? Because now I'm going to start sharing more author stuff. I've been doing cat pictures because I'm a cat woman too. I have a couple. Yeah. And it's Christmas time. That's a really good idea. Thank you.
I mean, I'd say for sure, I would continue, the cat stuff is part of your brand, right? You have to figure out what your brand is, right? So I wouldn't stop that. I mean, everybody who gets my newsletter or goes to my page, they know I post pictures of my goofy Frenchie all the time because, he makes me laugh.
People love pets.
Right. Yeah, people love pets. And if it's part of your brand, that's That's cool. I think that helps, and it's all good.
I was reluctant to share a lot on the author page because I blogged a political blog for over a decade, and I know what's out there, let's just say.
Yeah.
So I think I'll share a little bit more, but not as much as Shawn, because I also know what's out there.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. We're almost out, so like.
Okay, real
make
quick.
it
So I have a VIP reader group. My readership tends older, and I cannot, for the heck of me, figure out how to get people to engage in the group. They post tons of adorable cat memes and like book memes. There's just all memes, but I can't figure out how to like get them to like talk about the book amongst each other and like post about their favorite characters. And I'm like, how do you suggest in getting them to do that? Be a reader group instead of a meme group.
The trick, I think, is just to jump engagement by, you got to show Facebook engagement, and the way that I do that is I ask questions that everybody knows the answers to and wants to share. One of the biggest posts I ever had was, hey, do you like salt on your watermelon? And I had like 3,000 responses to that question. Now, that question doesn't help my author career, but it does help my Facebook algorithm
Engagement,
push.
yeah.
And the more activity you get, the more people you get in. And sometimes you can encourage that by asking those questions yourself.
I didn't want to be like that weird author who's like, so guys, which one of my characters do you like the best? You know, like.
Yeah, you can be more subtle than that. You can look
Okay.
at a theme you addressed in your most recent book, and you can ask a question about that. I don't like to say, how much do you love me? You know, that's just creepy. So
Okay,
you can, but remember, you're the author. You're large and in charge, and it's your territory, your page, and you get to set the tone.
Thank you very much, Shawn.
So we are out of time. So what I do encourage is anybody who still has questions, come up and try to get some answers. But otherwise, thank you for coming. Okay. Yeah.
And come to the main room at 9:30. I'll be there, and I'm going to leave a lot of time for questions.